The Square Ball Podcast.
Well, welcome to the show. Transfer deadline nearly upon us. We'll round that up properly at the start of next week, actually. I firmly trained on the private jet terminal at Leeds Bradford Airport. Away from that, the 21s drew with Villa. The women had a double win at Fylde in the league, Halifax in the cup. And we've got yet another Welshman in the form of Carl Darlow at Leeds United. That's all on this week's roundup. Dan here with Michael, with Rob. Where do you want to start then? Transfers. We've just heard from Farke, I suppose. Doesn't expect anyone to leave. Players will be coming in by the looks of it, by the sounds of it. As we speak, Tanaka seems to have just landed at Leeds Bradford Airport. They'll be putting him through his paces at Thorpe Arch now, making sure his knees are in better nick than Manor Solomon's.
I mean, he's a central midfielder. We need one. I've watched him extensively on YouTube within the last 24 hours.
Does he look good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does, yeah. Yeah, he does passing. Likes a little sort of chipped ball to the other side. Can score as well, though. Saw him hitting a few shots. That was nice. Probably an improvement on Glenn Kamara. Because for as good as Glenn Kamara was at times, even on YouTube, you didn't see him scoring many goals. That seems like a sensible price, sensible age of player to be signing as well.
Well, I was going to ask you, because you're a thrifty Yorkshireman, you must be pleased at buying a full international footballer for like £4 million or whatever it is.
Seems all right, doesn't it? But then again, I remember thinking this when we signed Rasmus Christensen.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, it's not that much money. Plays for, an all right international team. Has played in an all right league. This is sure to be fine. And then I saw him turn up and I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, no. What is this? But we're not going to have that problem with this guy.
It's funny you mentioned Kamara, because it feels like last summer we signed Kamara instead of this guy. Because we were linked with him last summer.
Didn't he get an injury, Rob?
Well, it was weird because we seemed to hear more about it last summer once the window was closed. There were some strange stories in Germany that we'd registered our interest and never followed up on it. There was a story that his club were surprised that his agent never pushed more for the move. And then there was another story saying that Farke really likes him, but the quote was our squad planner had blocked a move. And I think by that they meant sporting director or one of the suits anyway. So it feels like they've kind of turned their nose up at him. And then a year later, we've sold Glenn Kamara and it's got to the end of the window and it's a bit like, let's go back and get that guy. Maybe he is all right after all. And, I'm sure, he does look decent. I trust your scouting, Michael. But it's funny how all this thing works out, that we've kind of had this little merry-go-round, I think.
My other bit of scouting was I noticed the Leeds Live article that said linked with midfielder once hailed new Jude Bellingham, which, given he's quite a bit older than Jude Bellingham, makes me wonder how that's ever happened. Because to be the new, you can't be older than someone, can you?
No, and you would apply that label to a young footballer. So when's that getting applied?
Someone's seen Jude Bellingham at 13 and gone...
I was going to say, so if this guy's 20, Bellingham must have been in his young to mid-teens. So, wow, he's the one.
Yeah, you can see from the Leeds Live article, though, I think they've obviously brought back the article from last year when we were signing him, because in the comments, there's people saying, reports today that he's injured his knee in training, so that could end our interest. And that's August. That's exactly a year ago. There were people saying that.
Right.
So yeah, it suggests that maybe that was the original plan, and then Kamara was the backup plan.
To Rob's point, though, and Tanaka, given the lateness in the window that this has all happened, doesn't ever feel quite like first choice.
Well, I think actually you'll find that it shows the wisdom of doing the business late in the window, or whatever they said.
Do you think that was good to put in that statement about the signing of Solomon?
They did a little click of the fingers.
Yeah,
they said
little sassy.
They have been a bit sassy all summer. Like whenever anyone's left us on loan, it was like, Rasmus Christensen has chose to join whoever on loan. It's like, well, I don't think you were that asked about him staying in the first place. But
chosen to exercise clauses to get away and go to Brighton and things like that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of cattiness. And again, after we signed Solomon, what was it again? I've got it here. We've beat off competition from a number of top flight sides. Deliberate strategy of remaining patient in the transfer window has paid dividends. It's like, fine, lads, it's all right. You don't have to qualify everything. We've won a game. We're signing players. That's all anyone ever wanted in the first place. So just enjoy it that fans are a bit happier now, because they are clearly a little bit sensitive to that.
This guy is actually friends with Mitoma, who plays for Brighton, and I don't want him mixing. If we sign him, I don't think they should be allowed. They should allow
no socialising.
No. Can you? Oh, it's the international. Don't speak to him.
Right.
I don't want him getting drumming up interest for Brighton. They've already pinched Georgie. And I think that's where it should end. I think we should make him retire from international football and delete Mitoma's number from his phone.
I mean, no, we could basically finish his career like we did our last Japanese
Of course,
international in the form of Ideguchi.
The Ideguchi route.
Yeah.
We do still have some. We had some Japanese square ball logos, didn't we? There was even a magazine existed with it on when we signed Ideguchi. Such was the hype. Didn't quite pan out.
Who's turned this one up? The kettle chat. We got some kettle chat on the member show actually this week.
It was the bottom of his Wikipedia.
Right.
Must be true.
So what is the story then?
He used a Nambu iron kettle to get enough iron.
Is a Nambu iron kettle a good thing?
Yeah. What do you tend to use yours for?
Oh, I've got my Aldi own brand Nambu iron kettle.
Ah, right, yeah. It's not branded as Nambu.
It's Nambi.
Yeah, but it's similar.
It's
Yeah.
still an iron kettle.
Yeah, I'm just looking at pictures of them. They look.
Sorry, it was an emix, so that he started using an iron kettle to get more iron. Because that feels a little bit sort of Victorian workhouse, like, prop him down, I'm going to feed him some lead. He needs more lead in his blood.
If you can snort iron filings as well.
Can you really?
That's the other thing.
Are you recommending that?
That's the other thing you can do to improve your iron.
Right.
Can you drink Guinness? Is that a thing?
That's just for pregnant women.
Oh, is it? Didn't they do it on the? Didn't they do it on the Tour de France as well? With finish. A big bike ride and have a few Guinnesses.
They used to do, but I think they've sort of progressed beyond that now to do, blood transfusions and monkey glands and all that sort of stuff.
Well, they did used to overheat from amphetamines, didn't they, as well? So, not the best nutritional advice.
But anyway, Tanaka comes with good reports anyway. I'm interested to see what he turns out like. But the price kind of, I suppose, lowers the expectation, doesn't it? Because the other name that we've been linked to is Gus Hamer at Sheffield United. Mm-hmm. And I think to a man, woman and child, everybody saw that and went, yeah, we've got to sign him just to piss off Chris Wilder because he's been so salty about Leeds. It's been great fun.
I think it would be funnier if we just kept bidding lower and lower amounts, just really, really upset him.
Kept going down.
Like every day he's been chatting about it. It's hilarious. And he was sort of saying, not sure what it was meant to do, all that. And you think, well, it's pissed you off, so he's done enough, quite frankly.
Yeah. I mean, I would take him, but I think Sheffield United should do the decent thing and just let him go for not very much.
Right.
Because he don't want to be there, does he? Let's face it, Chris.
Well, no, who would?
Seeing your face every day.
No.
Could just look at a ham sandwich instead.
Exactly.
I'm surprised Tanaka didn't go to Sheffield if it's iron that he needs.
That's steel.
It's the same thing, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. What about at Scunthorpe?
The irons, yeah.
The irons. Should have gone to Scunthorpe.
Maybe so. But yeah, Hamer, I'd like him in because he's a good player at this level. I can see the childish one-upmanship that this would lead to, and I'm all for it.
But he seems like the player we are maybe missing a bit as well. We've just heard from Farke, and he was talking about Brendan Aronson playing the number 10, but Hamer would be a more obvious fit for that kind of a position, wouldn't he? Tanaka seems to be a deeper lying. Well, obviously, I've done the extensive scouting, but he seems to be more of a Glenn Kamara replacement than a number 10 Georgie replacement.
An 8.
Let's call him an 8.
There's a weird fad for that at the minute, isn't there? Like he's a 6, he's an 8, he's a 10 or whatever.
An 8 is just a Rod Wallace, in my opinion, and I don't think he's a Rod Wallace.
Right.
6 is really annoying as well because it should be the number 4, really.
Yeah.
I don't like how 6 has crept in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Do we need to set up some official rules on this in place about what you're allowed to like? And essentially, you're only allowed to use the numbers that relate to Reevy's Leeds or Howard Wilkinson's Leeds. Or
I'll allow whichever version of Leeds you first watched. So for you, it might be like an 8 might be a Neil Kilkenny or someone. I'm not trying to think. I'm trying to think of it might have been.
I think the number 7 would be like a Jermaine Wright, I think.
Wow. What number was Gregan?
He was 8, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I think he was.
Sean Gregan.
We need a Gregan. That's what everyone's been saying this summer. For the high pressing intensive in football you need these days, you need a Gregan in your team.
It's interesting to see how bidding for Heyman, I don't know if he's going to come in or not. We'll all find out in the next 24 hours. Putting in 13 million quid, and they've gone public with it, which kind of sets the bar for what Leeds United have got available to spend. So if they don't spend it before transfer deadline day, it'll be interesting to note how people react to that, to feel like Leeds haven't performed as well as they could do, perhaps in the market, just in purely monetary terms. Because, often people view these things quite simplistically. But if that's set the bar for where it is, would people be justified in saying, well, if you haven't spent it, you've not achieved what you set out to do? Or is it just about individual values for individual players?
I suppose you can say we're saving up. You can say, rather than waste it, save up, get someone in January.
Have a big January like we always do. I don't know. I think now Ramazani and Solomon have arrived, even though Farke keeps saying they're not direct replacements for Somerville or Rutter. They have essentially been replaced. And I think if they do get the fullback and central midfielder that he's been asking for, I think that everyone would be fine with that, wouldn't they, really? Like, it's nice that they seem to be going after another attacker. And it's funny how I'm always like, transfers are overrated and boring and the actual football's better. But now we've actually started signing players. I'm like, yeah, get some more. Right. Come on, spend it all.
Give me that dopamine hit every day.
Just throw 30 million at it, it'll be fine. But I think, like I say, if they get the midfielder, which it sounds like, and a fullback, which there's been another one linked today.
Isaac Schmidt.
That's the guy.
I've not had a chance to do comprehensive scouting on him because that's happened. I've heard about this literally this morning.
Yeah, well, one headline compared him to the new Alioski.
Okay.
But I think it's more the fact that we're signing him from Switzerland and he can kind of play everywhere.
Yeah.
Rather than the madness.
You're sort of saying his transfer market positions chart is like he's a football manager dream.
Yeah, he's a Stuart Dallas.
Rather than making dolphin noises in the team bath.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Or shaking the tunnel at Ellen Road.
Although that would be fine if he wanted to have a bit of fun.
He's got quite a serious face, is what I would judge.
What does he look like? Does he look like Berardi or not?
No, he's got a nice tash though.
Right.
So it's good. If a direct Firpo replacement in some respects, if he is needed to fill in at left back.
Yeah, no, it's a good tash. You're right. No, pleasingly so.
Yeah. So should we have him?
Yeah, get them all.
Every summer I've advocated signing 4 or 5 left backs because you know they're mainly going to be rubbish. So if you get enough, one of them's probably going to be fine.
Well, it looks like we were sniffing around Max Aarons, doesn't it? As well as we inquired maybe about Philip Billing. Billing not willing to drop down. Aarons, don't know what happened there. But do you want him as well?
Yeah, get both of them, I suppose. Right. Yeah.
I think we should make him rot on the bench for turning us down last year.
Yeah, a bit awkward in it to be like.
Are you crawling back here now, are you? Good enough for you, are we now?
But at the same time, fine.
Yeah. You are quite good.
You're pretty good at this level.
It's the sort of Willie Nonto curve, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah, that's the Willie curve. Philip Billing was one I did want. I must admit, we were linked with him. I was like, he'd be really good because I don't know if he's just always played well against us.
I was going to say, I think that's the thing.
Is it?
Because I was a bit like, he's good. He always scores against us, doesn't he?
Is that
he's
all
at least scored one good goal against us. But I think the fact that he's played for Huddersfield and Bournemouth suggests he can't be that good, can you?
No, maybe not. I think I just wanted him because he's big as well, and I've kind of wanted. We keep being linked with really small people, so I was like, no, get a big fucker in there, someone who can win headers.
Which perhaps shines a light on your coaching methods.
Well, if we're getting Hamer as well, he can deliver good set pieces, and who's getting on the end of them?
The big bastard.
Not that little winger, Ramazani, not him. Unless he's on someone's shoulders, potentially.
Yes.
Although Solomon, I think he's a reasonable size.
Oh, I thought he was short. Is he not?
I don't know. Maybe he just looks big compared to...
I've not measured him. We need somebody out there comparing them to wet floor signs, which is how that's unfolded before at Leeds around transfers, hasn't it? It's been refreshingly free of that madness. People have been spotting planes arriving at Leeds Bradford Airport private jet terminal, but there have been very few photographs of them out in the wild.
Oh yeah, Minos Solomon's not big at all.
He's not, no.
Nope, turns out. Well, he's a good height. He's 5'7", 5'8", depending on what you read, which I think is about average, an average height.
Right, okay. Yeah, well, he addressed that, did Farke, in today's press conference, talking about the way that we play, because it was questioned about height or lack thereof, and said, the way that we play, it's all right, isn't it?
What, that we don't need to be big?
Yeah, don't need loads of big units in there.
It's fine. We've got Rodon to miss headers from corners.
I kind of agree. In an attacking sense, you don't need to be big because you can find other ways to score. But if other teams are just constantly heading the ball in past you, it does matter a bit.
Yeah. Well, with regards to Rodon and scoring from set pieces and centre halves and stuff like that, look out for the West Stand with Bryn Law, which is coming out tomorrow, where we're chatting about deadline day, obviously, because he used to work at Sky Sports News as a reporter there. But also why we don't score as centre-backs. And Bryn's got a theory, so look out for that.
Being Welsh, we basically blamed him for Joe Rodon, I think. That's what I was going for anyway. What
about Carl Darlow, another Welshman, who snuck in under the radar there, didn't he?
I'm sure I mentioned this a few weeks ago, that he was eligible to play for Wales, and then he's been called up. I wonder if someone heard it and went...
Craig Bellamy's been listening to this podcast.
Heard it and been like, I'll try him again. I mean, I dare say he's not watched him play because he doesn't play. But, to be...
Maybe that's what's prompted it, because is it right that he's previously turned down a call-up?
Twice. So he's only just decided he wants to be Welsh.
Maybe he's bored.
He's decided...
I think that might be it, to be fair.
Maybe he's decided the England call-up is...
Beyond him.
A little bit unlikely at this age.
But his granddad played for Wales, who was called Ken Leake, who I think sounds like a friend of Bob Mortimer's.
Yeah, he's 33, isn't he? It's like Pat Bamford was turning down Ireland, wasn't he? And he did get his England appearance.
Well, the other Welsh lads will be heading off, barring Dan James. So Ampadu and Roden will be there. But Dan James injured, as we found out in the presser just now with Farke. So who will step in? It remains to be seen. He left it open as to whether Ramazani and or Solomon will be ready for this one. I think he meant more kind of in a tactical sense rather than being like physically ready. But it will inevitably take some time to get up to speed and the physicality of the Championship, because he went on about the physicality aspects as well, didn't he? A little bit there, and the rough treatment that Somerville have been subjected to. Yeah,
I mean, Ramazani now a genuine like-for-like replacement, because he's also a little scum bastard.
Yeah,
because that's where he started his youth career. So just stick him in, give the people what they want. Let us see this expensive new tricky winger.
Yeah. What about the physical punishment though?
Let him take it.
Yeah, he's got to learn, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Now's as good a time as any. And he'll be up against potentially, well, depending on, thinking, but they've got Cody Drama and Louis Coyle, haven't they? So, one of them two can boot him up in the air.
The Square Ball Podcast.